Hi friends, welcome back to the Avocado Toast Budget. I am so excited because today marks our first budget for me video in this series. So I'm just gonna break this down for you a little bit, that way you know what to expect out of these videos. So I have been asking all of you on TikTok and on my Instagram to send me in your financial situation, your stories, your goals. That way I can show you guys how I would budget for you to make this channel as inclusive as possible and to show as many different ways as I can on how you can budget on all different types of incomes with all different kinds of goals in mind. Really show you guys that I really think that budgeting can be for anyone. So first I'm going to walk you guys through the background information on this person, a little bit about their financial history, what their goals are, how much debt that they have, and kind of how we're going to go about setting up this budget. So if you want the chance for me to budget for you, just click that little link down in the description box. It is a Google form. It'll take you to all of the information that you need. It lays out for you exactly what I'll be using this information for, and then I don't have to give any personal identifying information. I am super excited for this series, and I hope that you guys love it, so let's get into it. Okay, so here's just a little snapshot of this person. They are 24 years old. They do live with a partner, but them and their partner split their expenses 50-50, and they're also currently getting their master's degree. So a few of the goals that this person had when I was talking to them is that they want to be completely debt-free in 20 years, but they also, within like a 5 and 10 year goal, want to have all of their student loans paid off. They also want to be able to cash flow a new car. They do still have a car loan right now, but whenever they pay that off, they want to be able to get a new car and fund that with cash, and they want to have enough disposable income to travel. So a little bit of background, through a series of very unfortunate events, this person realized at 22 that their credit was absolutely awful. They had never budgeted before, but they naturally tended towards savings, so they never really had a problem with overspending. They just want to know how to use their money more wisely. They also currently have a 401k through their job, but they don't really know much about investing. On their list of priorities, number 1 is saving for a new car, then debt payoff, spending, investing, and then they weren't too sure what sinking funds were, and they already have an emergency fund, so that's pretty low on the list. Here's just an overview of their expenses and their debt. We are going to go into their fixed expenses and variable expenses a little bit more here when we start to budget for them, but I just wanted you guys to be able to have a snapshot of what we are working with and also be able to see the amount that they still owe on their loans. Currently, they owe $13,000 on their car, and then they also owe $39,000 in student loans. However, they said that they are still continuing to take out student loans for their master's program, so this number will continue to grow. So in order to start your budget with YNAB, you are going to go to youneedabudget.com, and then you can click Start Your Free Trial. I already have a login, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then this is my budget, so to create a new budget, we're going to go over here, scroll down to New Budget. We're going to call this Budget for Me number 1, US dollars. All of this looks good. Create a budget. Okay, so when you first log into YNAB, it's going to set up a template for you, and how they have it is your immediate obligations, things like rent, thank you, Tori, rent, electricity, water, internet, groceries, things like that. Their true expenses are sometimes what other people refer to as sinking funds. So these are things like car maintenance, if your home needs any repairs, clothing, gifts, holidays, things like that. And then they also have a place for debt payments, what they call quality of life goals, which are like vacation, education, all of that stuff, and then some just for fun stuff over here. I am going to go ahead and change up this budget a little bit and show you guys how I set up my budget and how I would set up this person's budget as well. But I just wanted to show you, starting off with, this is what your page is going to look like. So with YNAB, you are only ever budgeting the money that you already have in your account. So taking that into consideration, we're going to go ahead and over here and add your estimated balance of a checking and a savings account. Okay, so in this case, our person, we're going to do unlinked accounts since I am not this person. I do not have access to their bank account. And then in their checking account, which we'll just call checking, they have $6,958. You can go ahead and estimate this if you don't know an exact number. Click next, and then we'll add another account because they also have a savings account. So again, we're going to do an unlinked account. Go down to savings. We're going to nickname this savings, and their current balance in their savings is $6,400. And then for that, we're done for now with our accounts. Then the next thing that I like to do is go ahead and add any investment or debt accounts that you have. So again, we're going to go with an unlinked account. This time, since it is not either a line of credit or a credit card, this is a liability because we are going to count their student loans. So in order for us to be able to identify that, I'm going to label it student loans, and their current balance is approximately $39,000. So we're just going to go ahead and estimate that. Click next, and then you can see over here, this shows up a little bit differently in your budget. So this over here in your checking and savings account is your budget, and then this down here is just tracking your net worth. They also have an investment account, but currently they don't know how much is in that, so we're just going to go ahead and leave that out. So coming back over here to our budget. Okay, and then I am going to go through and set up what I'm going to call their fixed expenses. That is going to be the first category that I put here. And in this case, they pay rent, they have a car payment, a warranty for their car, phone bill, utilities, internet, and an iCloud subscription. So these are their fixed expenses. The next category that I'm going to put in, I'm going to change the name on this, and I'm going to call this variable expenses. For them, this is groceries, eating out, fun money, miscellaneous money, and clothing. Perfect, that's already called clothing. So all of these we don't need. We can go ahead and just right click and delete all of these. I'm going to delete this because I already put their car payment up here, and right now their student loans are on hold. So I can delete this whole subcategory. And then I'm going to go ahead and also set up some sinking funds for them. But we'll talk a little bit later about what I'm going to put in these. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and delete most of these categories, and then we'll go back through and we'll add some later. Actually, I'll go ahead, that way we can start to kind of think about this. I'm going to add in sinking funds. So they said that part of their money just goes to an emergency fund, so we're going to put that in here. And then I also am just going to add some ones that I think are important things for them to start saving up for. So these include something like a vacation, car maintenance, they talked about wanting to fund a car in cash, so we're going to put a sinking fund for a new car as well. So now that we have the general outline of our budget set up, we have to come up here and decide where we want this money to go. So to start off, for fixed expenses, I'm going to go ahead and set some goals here. So their rent, every single month they owe $425 for rent. So I'm going to come over here, type $425, and this is a needed for spending goal every single month. So what this means is that by the first of the month, they need $425 to spend on rent. we're gonna click that, and then it'll show us over here in yellow that we are underfunded right now for that one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the same exact thing for all of their payments and the amount that they have to pay each month for those. Now that we have all of these goals set up in our YNAB budget, if I were to come over here and highlight all of my fixed expenses, you can see over here it says underfunded $975. So I know in order to fund all of their fixed expenses for 1 month, they need at least $975 that month. So what's super awesome about setting up in goals in YNAB is that now, instead of individually having to go through and fill all of these out, I can just click this underfunded button. It changes everything over here to green, and they are fully funded for all of these fixed expenses for the month of October. Now, what do you do when you have variable expenses, things that maybe aren't the same all the time? This is where you can kind of start setting some goals for yourself, and where I recommend that you set realistic goals. So in their case, they said that they spend about $400 a month on groceries. So the same thing, I am just going to put that they need that $400 by the beginning of the month, every single month. For eating out, they said that they want to spend around $100 a month. Fund money, same thing, around $100 a month. And then let's give them $50 for miscellaneous spending. And then they said that clothing was really important to them, so we are going to give them $100 a month for clothing. And then same thing here. Now these goals will track every single month, and if you ever want to know, okay, how much do I need to fund all of my variable expenses, you can highlight all of these, come over here to the underfunded button, click that, and then those are funded. So this is taking the money from up here and our to be budgeted, which is just a reflection of the money that we have in the bank accounts, and it is giving it a job. So it's not actually moving any money out of their bank account. This is just a representation of what is in their bank account, and then this is just telling them exactly how much money they have to spend on all of these different things. So they originally said that this $6,400 is part of their emergency fund. That is what is in their savings account. So I am going to go ahead and put this money in their emergency fund. That way it's no longer reflected up here. That way I don't accidentally spend or put this money somewhere else in their budget. It is always just going to stay here in this emergency fund unless they need it. Now, one of the things that I really love about YNAB is how easy it is for you to start budgeting ahead, which I think is really important when we're talking about budgeting, is to try to get ahead in your expenses. That helps you kind of break this paycheck to paycheck cycle. So if we were in October, so this is all of our spending money for October. If we click over here, this is going to be starting with November. So you can see everything is back to zero. These still show that they have $425 in them because we have not spent any money from our budget yet, but they're back to being yellow because we are still underfunded for this month of November. So in that case, I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of their fixed expenses and all of their variable expenses. Again, this will show us how much we still need to budget in order to cover that. And then there we go. Now we can see that with the money that they have, they are still a month ahead in their budget. Now, I'm going to go back to October because when I was talking to this person, they mentioned that something that was really important for them was to be debt-free in 20 years, especially in regards to student debt, and also be able to cash flow a new car. So right now they are still paying on their car, but eventually after they have paid that off, they would like to be able to get a new car and not have to take out a loan for that. So this is going to be a major category where we're going to be wanting to put some money into. I am also going to add a subcategory for student loans, even though they are not paying on those right now, since they did say it is a priority for them to become debt-free. I want to give them a place to start building up a payment to hopefully knock some of those out. So in this case, we still have $3,508 to be working with. So I am going to go ahead, and this is just one option for them to do. I'm going to put $2,000 towards a new car, and then I'm going to put $1,000 toward their student loans. This gives us $508 left to decide where we want to put it. I really think that it's a good idea for people to save for things like car maintenance, holiday funds, and vacations a little bit at a time every single month. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and do. I am going to add $200 to a car maintenance and $200 toward vacation. That leaves them with $108 left to budget. This is where you really get to decide what is important to you. So on their priority list, their first goal was saving for a new car, then debt payoff, then spending, and then investing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add this $108 toward a new car, since that is their number one goal, is to be able to cash flow that new car. Okay, so that is how you originally set up your budget, just with the money that you have on hand. So you can see this is just how I chose to set up this person's budget, and if they ever wanted to go through and add or take away any more categories, you can just push this little button right here to add a new category, and then you can click on this one to either hide or delete it. If this is a category that you've ever put money into or taken money out of, I highly recommend just hiding it rather than deleting it, because then if you delete it, it's going to delete the whole history of this category, and then that might mess up some of your numbers if you're looking back on your average spending. So in this instance, what is this person going to do whenever they get paid? So let me go ahead and show you that. We're gonna head over here. They get paid into their checking account, and we are going to add a transaction. Here you can type out whatever your employer name is or wherever you are getting this money from. And for income, I always put it in the to be budgeted category, because that is what is going to put it here at the top of your budget for you to decide what you want that money to do for you. If you want to write a little memo here, you can. This person gets paid $1,048 for every paycheck, so I'm going to put that into the inflow and then click save. And then you'll see that is reflected both in their checking account, and then it also is going to come up here. So if they got paid today, the first thing that they're going to want to do is put in that income. That way you can start budgeting this money. So since we are already fully budgeted for the month of October, and mostly through the month of November as well, there are a few different options that this person has. They can either keep building up their sinking funds and add this money to different categories in here. They can give themselves some more spending money this month if they had something special going on, or if they wanted to spend a little bit more money on something, they could go ahead and put that money in here as well. Or we can go over to December, and they can start budgeting for December if they really want to get ahead in their finances and give themselves a nice buffer.
Wow.
So in that case, if we wanted to do that and we just wanted to go by individual categories and decide, okay, rent is really important, rent comes out on the 1st, so we need to have that budgeted for. So we come over here, click this underfunded button, it takes the money from our to be budgeted and puts it towards rent, and then we can see by this green little check mark that we're good to go there. We also know that our car payment is really important, so we're going to add that as well. And then you can see we have $347 left. So we can just go down the line for this as well. And in that case, they still have $73 left to spend. So again, they could start trying to fund some of these variable expenses. Or if they want to slowly start building up their savings, they can add it to their top priority, which in their case is being able to afford a new car. I also talked to this person about the possibility of moving some of this money into an investment account. So if they decided to do that, that is what this would look like. We're gonna go ahead and add an account. Again, it is an unlinked account. And something like a Roth IRA or a 401k is not a part of your budget because it is not considered liquid money. It's not something that you could easily move around or turn into cash if you needed it. So we're actually gonna put this under tracking and under an asset. We're gonna name it a Roth IRA, and right now they don't have anything in it. So we're just gonna put $0, click next, and click done. That shows up over here. Now, let's say they took some of this money out of their savings account and decided that they wanted to move it from their savings into a Roth IRA. So in order to do that, we're gonna go click on the account that we are moving the money from, which in this case is their savings account. We're gonna click add transaction. The payee is actually going to be a transfer to our Roth IRA. So we're going to click that. And we wanna take this money out of, in this instance, their emergency fund, since this emergency fund directly correlates to their savings account. We're going to just leave a little note here saying that this is a Roth IRA contribution and there is an outflow, let's say in this case of $2,000. Now this is going to reflect both in their budget by taking that $2,000 out of their savings, and then it's also going to show them down here in their Roth IRA that there's now $2,000. Now, since this is just a budget, this doesn't actually move money into an IRA account. They would need to open up a Roth IRA and then make investments in that account, which is something totally separate. But I just wanted to show you guys, if you do have investment accounts, that is what moving money from either a checking and savings account to the investment account would look like here on YNAB. So this is it. This is what this person's budget would look like in YNAB. And then they would just begin tracking all of their expenses, most likely out of this checking account, by adding transactions, the payee, choosing a category, and putting that money in their outflow. Guys, that is it for our first Budget For Me series. I hope that you learned some awesome things. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions, if you need any advice. I am more than happy to answer all of that for you. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button with the notification bell. That way you're notified every single time that I post a new video. So again, if you want me to feature your budget in this series, you just have to fill out that form down below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.